Breaking news today, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor
has been officially arrested at his temporary home on the Sandringham estate, which is Wood Farm.
It somehow felt like a historic hammer blow all the same. On the morning of his 66th birthday, Thames Valley Police arrived en masse at the King's Sandringham estate to arrest his brother Andrew Mountbatten Windsor at the Wood Farm cottage occupied by the late Prince Philip in his dying days for misconduct.
This is unreal. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office earlier today. He's since been released.
But he's always just been a doofus, okay? He was his mommy's favorite. He was the Queen's favorite all through the 80s and 90s. It was discussed. He's sort of been the black sheep of the family. He was the original spare. We talk about Prince Harry being the spare, but Prince Andrew was the original spare.
Prince Harry was frustrated by comparisons to Andrew, whose arrest is embarrassing for the entire family.
This is not a development I expected quite so quickly. I welcome it. It's in many ways long overdue. There's been so much evidence mounting against him. And I was very concerned that he would do a midnight flit and evade justice.
Andrew's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to be banished, just like just like Harry and Meghan have to be banished.
Harry and Meghan's reactions are that they are thrilled to be 10,000 miles away from the ex-prince in the scandal.
I want to have whatever Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are having because, wow, it is. I mean, while the UK watched the senior royal taken into custody, there's Meghan Markle sending out a glossy email pushing her wickless candles.
Should have been spanked as a child. It's about time he got his comeuppance, really.
No, we don't want him here, but we still want justice to be done.
The aftershocks from former Prince Andrew's arrest have been seismic. Emergency royal meetings and talk of non-working royals losing their titles. That means you, Harry and Meghan.
By lunchtime, Buckingham Palace delivered a historic statement from King Charles, one he never wanted to release, given claims he contributed £1.5 million to pay off Virginia Giuffre, and given his decision to ludicrously try and bring Andrew and even Fergie back into the fold.
He doesn't care about anyone. He would take anyone and use their tax money. He doesn't care about the royals, including his mother, who adored him. You know, he's just a very, very unpleasant human being.
A prince was recently arrested in Britain. The brother of the current English king was handcuffed, and there were police on the king's private estate. And two British royals, who also happen to be sitting in a Monteceto house, are watching things unfold and fervently praying that America stays exactly where it is comfortable, asleep, and turning a blind eye. Because everything Harry and Meghan have created begins to fall apart if America wakes up and asks the same questions that Britain just asked. And they are aware of it. There isn't enough direct discussion of this on television, so let's compare the two. Born in Britain, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor grew up in publicly sponsored palaces with access and privileges that the average person could never dream of. This week, he was detained, identified by his own brother as a private person, had his belongings searched, and was charged with a crime that carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. All the walls that shielded him are gone. Harry Mountbatten Windsor, also born British, grew up in the same palaces, had the same privileges, access to the same chambers, and shared Andrew's social circle during the same years, at the same events, and inside the same establishment. Right now, there is no character difference between Harry and Andrew. It's not conduct, it's a postcode. Harry selected California, the only nation on the planet where the Epstein story has resulted in a single criminal conviction. Meghan had lived in Canada for years, but he did not relocate there. Not Europe, especially California, which has the worst record of responsibility for the largest crisis of our time, and no one has ever questioned him about why. In certain ways, Harry's 20s are documented. The Las Vegas parties and the photos that led to several occurrences across the globe. The environment in which those parties lived is little talked about, since Harry was not interacting with regular people. He was navigating circles of extraordinary access and riches. The Department of Justice is currently releasing records that depict this kind of society. Harry resided in Clarence House and Kensington Palace during those years. He shared Andrew's attendance at both private and royal gatherings. They weren't distant relatives.
There's a reason members of the family never even really associated with him too much, and we got this picture of him, okay, leaving the prison or leaving the jail, and I have to tell you, not a great picture.
He's no longer royal. He's been kicked out of the family. He's a private citizen.
If he is convicted of misconduct in public office, then the vast majority of people that receive that kind of conviction end up with a prison sentence, and the maximum sentence is life imprisonment. And this is the king's brother who remains eighth in line to the throne. So this is like I say,
I think this interview really was the moment, the turning point, when everyone was like, oh, this guy's hiding something.
Even when he was told by the Queen and Philip that he had to disassociate, he was a spoiled brat, young.
They were family operating within the same institution, sharing the same social universe at exactly the moment Andrew was allegedly passing classified information to Jeffrey Epstein. Harry wrote a book that was sufficiently thorough to cover his own drug use, personal family disputes, and personal health details. Jeffrey Epstein is not mentioned at all in that book. Not a single line, not a denial, not a mention. He has never been questioned about his knowledge under oath. He was never asked to explain his knowledge of the years his uncle was purportedly engaged in the activity for which he is currently under investigation. Andrew is facing justice for what he did inside that world. Harry has never had to verify if he was in that world at all. Everyone should be troubled by that asymmetry. Consider the timing the real version, not the romantic one. In 2020, Harry and Meghan declared that they would no longer be serving as royalty. The Epstein scandal had already grown significantly by that time. The inquiries were growing. The walls were tightening around Epstein's entire universe, as anyone with access to competent legal counsel, which Harry has always had, could see. California was their choice. Epstein documents are in the FBI's possession. Epstein materials are with the DOJ. On American territory, names that have been in evidence for years are still entirely unaltered. Additionally, Harry and Meghan have been assimilating into the safest social class available in American society for the past 4 years. Tiers of political donors, philanthropists, and celebrities. People for whom American institutions have historically found reasons not to look too closely. This is the legal reality that Harry's staff wishes you will never consider. There is an extradition pact between the United States and Britain. If Harry were ever significant to a British investigation, it would be as a witness who was aware of conversations that took place inside those palaces rather than as a suspect. There are ways to ask for his assistance, even in California. Harry's lawyers are aware of the existence of these intricate, slow systems. Although Andrew lived in a fortress, California is a fortress. His was based on familial loyalty and royal ancestry. It failed to hold.
Leaving custody was framed and displayed at the museum in Paris. A label below the photograph reads, "He's sweating now, 2026.
The same day that Andrew was arrested, Meghan Markle was sharing a message to her followers. She sent an email promoting her candle products as part of her As Ever brand.
Anything Harry and Meghan do is going to take a back seat and is going to be secondary. And I think that is going to drive Meghan in particular nuts, because we all know she loves to be top of mind, loves to be in the spotlight.
And I'm sorry, but if that is proven, and if that comes out, if this trial collapses because Andrew says, well, I told my brother all about it, and that the Paul Burrell defense comes into play, I don't see that. I think they're very lucky that they have this amazing kind of parachute.
Meghan has amassed an empire since coming to the United States, including Netflix, the failed Spotify deal, American Riviera Orchard, the Arkawell Foundation, and a network of connections intended to establish her as a permanent fixture in the highest echelons of California society. Take a look at the people who live there: executives in the entertainment industry, billionaires in technology, and philanthropists who manage foundations and pose for pictures with world leaders. In material related to the Epstein probe, a number of names from Meghan's current network have surfaced subtly and received little media notice. Present in that ecosystem of extreme riches and extreme solitude, yet neither charged nor accused. Serious investigators have identified a pattern. The people most visibly associated with charitable causes involving children and women are sometimes the same people whose names surface at the edges of these investigations. Meghan has centered her entire American identity around those causes. Large quantities of money are raised by the Archwell Foundation. Its list of donors is not entirely available to the public. The California elite that has enveloped the Sussexes since their arrival is deeply connected to it. Who is providing the funding? In such world, who stands to gain by Meghan's continued relevance, credibility, and protection? These are not charges. These are the same concerns that serious people are now posing regarding all of the influential networks that were close to Epstein. Meghan's network also merits the same examination. Nobody is above the law. A generation was taught this in school, witnessed it written in courtrooms, and and then spent 50 years witnessing that promise mean different things depending on who you know and how much money you have. In 2008, you witnessed the destruction of common savings by powerful guys who were given bailouts rather than handcuffs. Decades, I watched the entertainment business as a whole and shielded predators while everyone else turned away. Then, this week, Britain detained a prince, a man who firmly felt that his identity would keep him safe forever. He was given a funny name by his sibling. It happened when police entered the king's personal property. The event that was thought to be impossible actually occurred. That is why this felt different.
It somehow felt like a historic hammer blow all the same. On the morning of his 66th birthday, Thames Valley Police arrived en masse at the King's Sandringham estate to arrest his brother Andrew Mountbatten Windsor at the Wood Farm cottage occupied by the late Prince Philip in his dying days for misconduct.
What she's worried about is that, I'm going to be very respectable, that she will lose her title. That's very important to her. What she worries about is that she's no longer thought of as clever and wonderful. Nobody likes her.
He wasn't upset, he was furious. There was absolutely a "do you know who I am" tone. It was arrogance, not panic. He seemed more insulted than afraid. This is, again, how Prince Andrew, to me, has always seen as just sort of this arrogant, entitled jackass, honestly. And it doesn't surprise me that this would be the reaction that he had.
He was given privy to private government information, and all of this reflects and questions corruption within the monarchy, and Charles just doesn't seem to be able to deal with it.
Not because of Andrew particularly, because of what it proved. It demonstrated that the wall could fall, that money, titles, and blood are ultimately insufficient, which makes Harry and Meghan's continuous immunity feel different now. Not just unfair, deliberate, maintained by institutions making an active choice every day to look somewhere else. That decision is acknowledged by your generation. You have watched it being made your entire lives. Here is something that has received absolutely little notice, and it matters significantly for Harry and Meghan. Harry spent years carefully building political relationships in Britain, specifically within the liberal-aligned progressive establishment. Everyone who supported Harry and Meghan's tale, lent it legitimacy, and used their position to support the Sussexes is fleeing anything that has anything to do with Epstein. The establishment that welcomed the Oprah interview that celebrated Meghan as a victim that positioned Harry as a fearless truth teller is being eaten by the very scandal Harry believed he had left behind. Harry's ongoing legal battles in the UK against the Home Office on security and the press are now taking place in a political setting that fell apart in a single week. The allies have vanished. There is no longer a sympathetic government. Furthermore, the arrangements that made Harry's situation tolerable will be completely disloyal to any new administration that takes office after May. Over many years, Harry established a political safety net in Britain. He is watching it burn from California after it started fire this week. According to reports, 9 different investigations into Andrew and the network his arrest has created are currently under progress in Britain. Each of the 9 is able to bring in fresh names, new records, new testimonies, and more than anyone can now imagine. What has been made public, according to legal experts, is only a small portion of the documentation that is now in existence. What we have already witnessed is dwarfed by what lies ahead. The circle grows with each release. New names are introduced with each expansion. After May, there will be tremendous public pressure on a new British administration to actively pursue this. A new government will view responsibility as an opportunity, in contrast to Starmer's immobilized administration.
Prince Harry was frustrated by comparisons to Andrew, whose arrest is embarrassing for the entire family.
He's no longer royal. He's been kicked out of the family. He's a private citizen.
I think this interview really was the moment, the turning point, when everyone was like, oh, this guy's hiding something.
This is not a development I expected quite so quickly. I welcome it. It's in many ways long overdue. There's been so much evidence mounting against him.
Leaving custody was framed and displayed at the museum in Paris. A label below the photograph reads, "He's sweating now, 2026.
I want to have whatever Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are having because, wow. It is, I mean, while the UK watched the senior royal taken into custody, there's Meghan Markle sending out a glossy email pushing her wickless scandals.
They will be motivated to act swiftly and openly. Additionally, Harry's attorneys routinely review the extradition treaty, since that is what top-notch attorneys do when their client is a British national residing in the United States. Andrew thought his walls would last forever, even as the institution he came from was engulfed in scandal. None of it held. A mother who loved him, royal blood, or familial loyalty. With better attorneys and stronger ties to the world's most powerful nation, Harry and Meghan constructed fresh fortifications. However, the first cracks appeared in those walls this week. Small ones, but cracks. Anyone who has watched a wall come down knows it always starts small.
Britain detained a royal, an institution that had defended itself for a millennium by using its own members to publicly and unhesitatingly call out wolves by name. Additionally, 2 individuals in California who based their escape on America being silent are keeping a close eye on everything. They are too controlled to publicly panic. However, the calculations are taking place behind the lifestyle brand and the meticulously maintained appearance. The files continue to arrive, the lawyers are chatting, and the allies are becoming silent. 2 inquiries. Do you think Harry is more knowledgeable of Andrew's world than he has ever acknowledged? And do you think America will ever follow Britain's lead? Tell us in the comments. See you in the next one.